morning to everyone, and welcome to the SpaceInfo podcast. Today we have Cedric Lorant, CEO of EmTroniX. And good morning, Cedric. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very good, and I'm happy to discuss with you about the company.
So if you want to tell us what your company does and some details of your occupation. I know that EmTroniX is in the game since more than 20 years. So you've been successful in what you're doing.
Yeah, we started the company in 2001. In fact, we were several engineers coming from the automotive world where we were designing engine controllers for gasoline, petrol cars. And we had a wish of independence. So we started to create our company. The first project that we had were in the automotive area. And then quickly we moved to a NATO project with the NSPA here in 2004, the first project with them, and 2006, the first aeronautical project with Eurocopter, no, that is called Airbus helicopter. And in 2008, it's the first step in the space. And with that, in fact, we meet CEO of Luxspace at that time at Chambre de Commerce in Luxembourg, and this is how the story started.
So basically, your let's say your inspiration, your main idea is starting from things that move on the ground and then lift off from to the sky and to space, basically.
Yeah, in fact, new space is sharing a lot of commonality or a lot of things with automotive, because in automotive, you must be cheap, you must be reliable, you are living in a harsh environment in terms of vibration, shocks, temperature cycling. You don't have the radiation. And in space, you don't have the volume. But anyhow, there is a lot of commonality. And so this is all started because New Space was, at that time, it was not called New Space, but they were interested in transferring knowledge from automotive into space using COTS component, what they call component of the shelf, and then designing reliable electronics at a significant lower cost than standard ECSS-like project.
Yeah, so basically, if I understand well, you're using the big numbers on the automotive side to bring that missing brick inside the wall of the space, basically.
In somehow, yes. We are bringing or sharing some design rules, some way to create the electronics, the mechanics that makes that the electronics is reliable, but at a low cost.
Sure. Maybe that's the winning tip for the whole game, I think.
Yeah, because finally it's always a question of money and also time to market, because when you are using ECSS-like components, procuring them takes ages. It's unbelievable the first time we faced this, that when you want to order a single resistor or a single capacitor, it can take 6 months to 1 year, and that's absolutely not possible in the new space. You need to be on time and you need to go fast. So yes, there is a lot of commonality. And in addition, you need also to meet the right person in order to move from what we were doing. And in fact, this is all more or less, they grab us and introduce us to the space. And then since then, now we have 95% of our activity in the new space.
So maybe you'd like to share with us some of the latest projects or some of the most interesting facts that happened while working in your company to your projects.
Yeah. If you would like to have a kind of project where we are quite proud is in 2014, in fact, we were involved in a kind of memorial mission. It is called 4M mission, for Moon Memorial Manfred mission. In fact, it's an homage of, it's a tribute of the CEO of OHB Group in Germany that died that year. And in fact, we had an opportunity to be one of the first private company around the moon. So this is a kind of very nice business card that help us to be widely seen and somehow recognized, because it was a little bit a race. They came in, I think it was in April 2014, and we had to deliver the payload in August the same year. So it was a rush. but that was really, I would say, thankful. Then after, we were part of the pioneer in 2008 with the AIS reception, which is basically tracking vessels in high sea where you do not have any coast to monitor that. Then after, we did also some ADSB. We also did the telecommunication hub for a future use around Mars. That was a really nice piece of software-defined radio algorithm and signal processing.
Yeah, I think that's they're all very, very interesting. And wait a minute, maybe it's the first time you're listening to the SpaceInfo podcast. So I have to let you know that SpaceInfo.club is a platform and a community. We are today counting more than 130,000 followers and members across all the different platforms. So I strongly invite you to visit our website at www.spaceinfo.club to discover all the content we publish, and also our Instagram account and LinkedIn profile. If you're a company or a professional who would like to be featured on our platform, don't hesitate to contact us, so you'll be featured on our magazine, articles, and also can participate in the SpaceInfo podcast. Now, back to the episode. Yeah, on the difficulties and particularly on the innovation side, I imagine it like something like you start from something that you know, but basically you should develop every time some maybe little thing, some bigger things that actually don't exist in the current world. So is there some, I don't know if there is a failure or something that you reckon in the past as, okay, I could have done better, or maybe I wish I knew something that would help me in developing this or that product?
Yeah, it's always a challenge to go in area where we don't have enough experience. Basically, when we do a project with a customer, we try to have a human relation and try to be as transparent as possible. One of the first projects that was not in the space, but it was in the automotive, was in fact a project where a company came and asked us electronics, and it was for an electrical actuated turbo. And at that time, we say, okay, we know power electronics, but we don't know turbo, and we are not specialists in electrical motor. So there are areas where we are not good at. And they say, don't worry, turbo, we are expert, and we hire 2 experts in electrical motors. And that was one of the best collaboration between all the companies. And quickly we went to an electrical actuated turbo that went up to 150,000 RPM. That was really a nice collaboration, because here we were completely transparent about what we master, what needs to be covered by somebody else. And in all the project, we try to, when we say yes, we know 90% of the project, we need to learn 10%, and according to that, we can judge, okay, we are capable of. If somebody is coming and asking me something where I only knew 20-25%, we will not go into that kind of project. The risks are too high. So it's always a way to progress and to learn and acquire new competencies. And basically, this is what we are doing now since 23 years.
Yeah, I think that particularly I look from the outside, and I wouldn't expected such kind of collaboration, particularly among different companies. Well, from the outside, my idea is, okay, if I am a company that I have to develop a project, I'm looking for some supplier which is capable of giving me some kind of product. So, okay, I say I'm looking for this or that product, and I need someone capable of already doing 100% of the work. And actually, I wouldn't have expected such kind of collaboration. And well, I'm quite surprised, but I think that's very amazing how different companies can say, okay, this is my strong point, these are yours, and we can join forces and develop a sort of common product, let's say. And yeah, I think that this is one of the most amazing thing in collaborating among different companies, because maybe I'm wrong, but from my understanding is okay, I have some knowledge, you have yours, and together we can just increase our common knowledge, and everyone can learn something. And yeah, now I'm curious to ask if this idea, I understood that this project was some years ago. Has this contributed to a sort of culture in the company? So new people hired in your company, do you still try to teach them this kind of approach, or has things changed?
No, I think we try really to continue that approach. One example is ERA. You know, this ERA Interplanetary Defense Mission.
Yeah.
In fact, we are part of one of the two small satellites that will be inside ERA. There is Milani and there is also Juventas, and we are on board of Juventas. And this is really a collaboration because we are the industrial side and we have IPAC. They are the scientifics, the one that are driving the mission for the scientific data. And there is also TUD Dresden, Astronica for the antenna, and also a company in Czech Republic. And this is the way that with all the knowledge and the competencies of everybody, we are able to make a powerful and strong radar. Then we are continuing to have this, I would say, in most of the project. That's the way, in fact, for me, it works, and it's always a human relation. It's not pure commercial. It must be behind the human. With some, it goes well. With other one, it goes less well. But for me, that's extremely important that we can trust each other and we know what are the limits of each other's, and to be transparent. That's if you manage to build a constructive relationship, it's really worth it.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's also for me. I will take this advice also on my, let's say, personal development side. And yeah, I think that's for the people who are listening now the podcast. This is one of the most valuable advices someone can give you. And yeah, now if that's okay, I'd like to shift a little the conversation still on the technical side. It's not really strongly technical, but we're still talking about space. But I think that a common topic of nowadays is what's called environmental sustainability. And okay, that's a little different from the sustainability we can think about here on Earth. But numbers tell us that a lot of satellites, a lot of particularly small satellites in Earth orbit are increasing in numbers. And I was talking with some people some weeks ago, and I was told that in the past years we had something like in the order of tens of re-entries in a lot of months. But in August 2023, we had something like 100 re-entries in Earth atmosphere of small satellites, and private companies are, let's say, under the spotlight for this contribution. So there is an increasing warning towards private companies building a lot of products and small satellites, which have uncontrolled re-entries in our atmosphere, for example. So is this kind of let's say thought present in your companies when you're designing projects?
Up to today, we were mainly the payload, meaning the not part of the avionic. Today we are moving to the avionic, and that's part of what we must take care. Meaning for us is that the electronic that we will design shall not use components that can be toxic or that can contain specific materials. We are not dealing with such thing because as we are using COTS component, by nature, we are already using component that you can find everywhere and that unfortunately some people are burning. So it will not add or it should not create too much pollution. Anyhow, if now we are designing an onboard computer on our side, our responsibility is that we must be sure that this onboard computer will work enough in order to be able to ask the satellite and push the satellite to perform the correct re-entry at the right place at the right time and all that. this is mainly up to today how we were involved in this kind of thing.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Now, also because of you're in, let's say, in the game from since some years, maybe you have also a perspective, not only on a look on the strict present. Maybe, yeah, I'm coming from the aviation world, and from my side, I see that there are a lot of let's say papers, regulations, a lot of things that are often limit your design capability, because you have to grant safety, you have to grant the different rules in different countries, and a lot of things that you have to keep in mind just from the very beginning of let's say from the requirements of every project. And do you see that differently from the past, the things are changing? Let's say the regulations are already present in a strong manner, or there is still some room for design?
There is still some room for design. They are introducing this. We start now to hear more and more about this topic. That's mainly concerning, when I say mainly, everybody is involved, but the one that shall drive or that are driving today are the platform manufacturer, because finally it is them that have the responsibility that their platform will operate properly and be able to deorbit at the right moment and at the right place. What we are seeing also, it's a little bit nearby, is the cybersecurity. That was something that was not mentioned in the past, but now hacking satellites start to become extremely a new game, and then that's something that people were not taking into account. So and also, if now you can maneuver, you can control a satellite, you can ask him to go and to smash into something else, and a lot of things can come out from this kind of approach, or this kind of problem.
And okay, so I am curious, particularly about the last part of your sentence, because okay, so the cybersecurity is maybe an eye problem, and I'm thinking about let's say the military field. But you read some news, so for example, okay, Russia tried to hack America's satellite or something like that, but okay, that's still in the military. I think that's part of their game. But maybe nowadays we can have viruses or hacks to our computers, but maybe in the future it will be, I hope, not so common, but maybe satellites will be, let's say, potentially able to be hacked. Now we have talked about some of the present challenges, also the past ones. So do you see again in perspective some of the future challenges in your company, some projects, maybe something you are already working on?
Yeah, in fact, we are currently in a big change phase. We are moving from a servicing company, because this is what we were mainly doing since 20 years. We were designing electronics that was not existing, creating something from scratch, and then providing it to the customer. But usually it was one of two units, it was proof of concept or specific things that they were asking. Today we are adding product to our portfolio, so we will sell from the shelf product. Basically, it's in the telecommunication area, and for us it's a big change, because now we have to put in place also all the commercial aspect, all the manufacturing, testing, all the MAIT, manufacturing, assembly, integration, and test inside our company, not for a single unit, but for recurrent unit. And that's a change. And on the counterpart, this is also how we can extend the size of the company, and this is how we are now growing and becoming an actor in the space area, and we hope we will become a strong and contributing actor to the space economy.
Sure. And okay, so for people who don't know, you're in Luxembourg, and I know that in Luxembourg a lot of companies are growing, some are just developing nowadays. So do you see a strong competition or more of, let's say, a collaborative environment? Maybe there are a lot of companies who are trying to make not exactly the same thing, but similar things. So are they competing with you? Are you all competing or trying to have the approach we were talking in the beginning?
I prefer to have a constructive approach. So for me, I prefer to work in a collaborative way and to be complementary. Our goal is to be agnostic and to be able to work with everybody.
Sure. And while I was asking the first question, I was thinking about companies in next to yours, let's say in Luxembourg on the nearbys, but maybe what's happening in the rest of the world is kind of different in terms of approach, competition, collaborations.
Absolutely, yeah. So with Luxembourg, we have the Luxembourg Space Agency, which is taking care of us and all the economy around the space. Outside, that's a little bit different. Yes, with that we can be in competition. Anyhow, we try not to do exactly what the other are doing. We must be anyhow different, to be complementary also, and maybe to take some shares of the market with new devices that are more powerful, that consume less, more processing power, higher bandwidth, more processing capability. Yes, but then outside of the Luxembourg and maybe outside of the Europe, it's true that we will have always competitors.
Okay, so you mentioned the Luxembourg Space Agency, so it's kind of, I wouldn't say incubator, but let's say a sort of intermediate mean interface with our companies, particularly if they are far apart from yours. Is this correct?
In fact, they are extremely useful in all the area, even with the neighbors, because when they realize an event, when they create an event, it's always good to see the people that are nearby you and maybe that you do not know sufficiently, and finally you discover that you can work with them and they are a few tens of kilometers from you. So they are for me a kind of catalyzer, I don't know if the word is correct, in all the economy in space for us. I really love them.
Yeah, sure. Also from my perspective, I think that having that kind of catalyst is that's one of the most strength point in a collaboration, because maybe okay, you're doing your product, someone is doing their service, everyone is trying to bring their contribution, because I if I'm understanding correctly, everyone needs some sort of superior entity above every single small or large company to create an interface among the different players in the game. So because maybe someone is bringing their little or big piece to the general contribution, but if everyone is bringing something and the other people don't find it useful, maybe putting things together won't be so effective as a result.
Yes. Yeah, there is this still. In fact, we come back a little bit to the word complementary, and being able to create something from our differences, and that's that's the core of the essence of proper collaboration and fruitful project. Yeah.
And how do you see the I would say talent acquisition side of I know you were expecting the question.
Yeah, this is extremely difficult to recruit talent. Just to give you an example, we are 35 people and we have 10 different nationalities.
Okay.
So we need to open and to go abroad in order to find the right talent people. And then after you need to keep them. That's not also an easy things to do.
Okay.
So for me, I'm really investing in the human aspect, because finally they are the aim and the core of the company. Without all these talented people, we would do nothing. So I try to take care of them, and we always look at what they want to do. I try to listen also to the personnel, to help them to expand, to develop, and to have a fruitful, I would say, career. And regarding that, we are also working always in projects that are quite challenging, that are close to the edge of the technology. So it also helps not to come in a routine and just be able to reproduce something every day that is the same. No, they have always to face new challenges. So for the talented people that like change, that like to progress, I think they should find a good way to express themselves.
Sure, because okay, this was quite of let's say a sort of common question everyone asks to companies, to people who are managing companies, because we try to look on that side. Basically, for example, thinking for myself, for people who are like me. For example, I've studied indeed space engineering at the university. So my perspective is okay, I can study a lot of things, but when you are on the field, there is always something new that you are trying to learn. So is the approach people have more important than their current knowledge, or is there a different balance?
Alors, good question. In fact, when we are recruiting, there are several ways of recruiting. One of the ways is to take students when they are doing the internship, and then we can evaluate them during 4 months, 6 months, sometimes more, and see how they can acquire new competencies. I will give you a little example.
Sure.
A day I had a student that came to me. He is a physician. He was studying physics and all this, and he was doing physician studies, and he came and asked me to go and to perform a thesis in radio frequency. And I asked him, but do you know radio frequency? He said no. I said, well, will not be easy, huh? But if you like that, you can look at those books. I gave him some references of books, and then 1 month later, I don't remember if it was me or him that contacted me again, and I asked about the books, and I asked about technical questions. And in fact, he spent time reading books, acquiring knowledge. So I took him as an internship, and he joined us, and now he's still with us. So it's really the capacity and the capability to learn and acquire new competencies.
Mhm.
So this is extremely important. So to answer directly to your question, in fact, it's both. Sometimes when we are recruiting a senior engineer, we are recruiting somebody with experience, with knowledge, and when we are recruiting a young engineer, we need to be sure that this person has the capability to learn and to quickly know new things and apply them properly. So yes, thank you.
No, that's me. Thank you. That's very interesting, and that's on my side, I'm really, let's say, thankful that that there is this kind of approach, because maybe people who are young, who have just finished their studies, maybe they are worried about, okay, do I know enough to apply for this or that companies? But seeing that the approach is, okay, you bring your big or small part of knowledge, but the most important part is your attitude towards learning, towards bringing your contribution, and that's very interesting. That's very powerful for someone who would like to work in the field.
Yeah, and even after, for experienced people, they must continue, and they must will to continue learning and progress. It's important. If not, they are not made for that kind of work. I would say nearly every day when I come back home, I've learned something new in techniques, in other stuff. But yes, it's a kind of never stop learning.
And yeah, this is your approach. But how do you try to give this approach to, let's say, to your companies, and Okay, so which is your perspective of this approach into the company, and how do you see it in the next years, for example, 10, 50 years?
I will say that we are doing according to our means. So, for example, when we had this increase of the different nationality, we offered them English courses and French courses. English courses for the one that were more speaking French and to interact with the other one that were speaking English, and also for the English newcomer that were not speaking French, and also to help them to integrate here in the country. And I will do my best in the future for other or the new type of learning. So on the other hand, we are always working on challenging project, and that's one of the first aspect. The second aspect is technically, as we are working on challenging project, we need to push the innovation and always learn new things. So regarding the personal development, if they want to go and learn something, I will support them the best I can. So there is the academic way, and there is also the learning of every day regarding the different type of project. I have some people that are coming to me and asking me, okay, I would like to know that kind of engineering. So that's always trying to be proactive and to be, I would say, open to the development of those people.
Yeah, so I think that this is the one of the most amazing way to end with our question. And I don't know if there is something you'd like to add, a sort of a message for people who are listening and are curious about your company, your environment.
If you like to learn a new thing, if you like to work in a constructive environment, we are hiring a lot of people: electronics engineer, radio frequency engineer, mechanical engineer, test engineer. In fact, it's open to a lot of people, because to create something from A to Z, you need a lot of competencies. So yes, if you like this kind of thing, this kind of challenge, and to work in a constructive and peaceful environment, for example, I don't want that we have internal competition inside the company. That's not the goal. We shall all work together in the same way. It's maybe with other companies that we will be in competition, but internally we support each other and we try to construct things all together. Yeah, so if you like new challenges, please welcome.
Yeah, all the people who are listening, that's an open invitation to join EmTroniX. And I really like your approach, and the last words about not making an internal competition, because it's maybe not useless, but also dangerous for people. And yeah, I thank you a lot, Cedric, for your time. It's been a very pleasure to discover your company, your reality, and your story. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Talk to you soon, I hope.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I hope. I don't know if there are some events or something, and maybe I will be there as a SpaceInfo representative. And yeah, I hope to talk to you in person very, very soon. And if you want to come back sometime, just let me know. It will be a pleasure for me.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.